Hello and welcome to another video on Jurassic World the game. In this video I'm going to be covering a tutorial on park layout. I'm going to be going through the in-game park maintenance steps and walkthrough that they have, as well as showing different layouts and tips and tricks on how to maximize coin production. Alright, so this is the in-game walkthrough on what the park management help is. So the first slide is want to increase coin production, place decorations next to dinosaurs and buildings to improve the rate coins are generated. We'll be going over that. Want to move a building, decoration, or creature, just tap and hold the asset and drag it where you want. Fairly straightforward. Is your park getting a little crowded? Once your park reaches max capacity, you will not be able to place new creatures. Check out the asset repository to make room. Just remember that stored creatures will not generate coins. I will cover this, and you should basically never have creatures in the asset repository because you should have plenty of space to put all your creatures out, and if you want to get coin production going, you got to get them out of the asset repository. Revenue tower. Need coins? Collect coins more efficiently with the revenue tower. When placed within a large area of buildings and paddocks, a single tap of the revenue tower will transfer all coins within its radius. I also go over this in my tutorial and how it's critical and it's important, especially if you're looking to decrease the amount of time that you spend clicking on things within the game. And the creature glossary, use your creature glossary to take stock of the animals in your park. Find the level of an individual dinosaur or quickly access any of your creature's enclosures. Enter the creature glossary by tapping on the innovation center in your park. If you are especially now with the second island, if you're having trouble finding a certain creature, you don't remember where you placed it, the creature glossary is a great way to ensure that you have and that you know where you need to go to get something. And it's just an easy shortcut. And then storing structures. If your park is full, you can store buildings and decorations by selecting them and tapping the storage button. Rebuild them instantly by selecting them in the market. I also talk about this in the video. This is an awesome feature that they added. I don't remember when they added it, but it is fantastic. It used to be a real giant pain in the butt to move stuff around within your park because you were only able to store creatures but not decorations and buildings. But now that you can store decorations and buildings as well, it makes park reorganization much easier and much faster. So thank you, Ludia. Through the magic of video editing, I'm gonna quickly speed through a reorganization and clearing out of this island to kind of set up what I'm gonna talk about next. helps if you hit the record button when you're trying to record a video. I just did a 10-minute description of this particular layout that I didn't record, so we're going to try that again. All right, so this particular layout is great for beginner players because the revenue tower is the first mass collection decoration that you get, and it makes collecting coins very nice. You don't have to go through and click on every single paddock. You don't have to go through and click on every single paddock to collect coins. You can click on the one revenue tower. So the revenue tower here is placed strategically, or I've placed the creatures around the revenue tower strategically to make sure that I'm hitting every single one of them. You can see all of them are glowing with the gold outline here. And this is a layout that I used a majority of the time until I got to a point where I had hit maximum amount of creatures allowed in the park and maximum amount of decorations that were allowed in the park. But this was prior to them releasing this island, Isla Sonora, or Isla Sonora, and so now that there is no limit on creatures or decorations, at least not that I've found, you don't have to necessarily be constrained to this layout, but it's still a really good layout for maximizing amount of creatures that are touching a revenue tower from a speed of collection standpoint, and the refresh of the revenue towers. It allows you to click on just one revenue tower instead of clicking on, say, 25 paddocks. It just becomes an easier way to manage your park. And so the way this layout works is you can fit 8 creatures, amphibians or carnivores, in the center, which ultimately allows you to kind of pick and choose which ones you want to have in there. And then you can fit a decent amount on the outside. You can fit more if you use the amphibians and carnivores, since they are only 4 squares. This is loud. 4 square paddocks, meaning they're 4 by 4 squares, whereas the herbivores are 5 by 5 paddocks, and the same thing with the pterosaurs. So their paddocks are a little bit larger, so you can't put them on the inside and then still have enough space to do a row of decorations and then a row of creatures on the outside. So you got to do amphibians and carnivores on the inside, and then switch out to either amphibians and carnivores or a mix of herbivores, pterosaurs, amphibians, and carnivores on the outside. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to strategically place your decorations here in this inner circle, or inner track, if you will, to maximize your coin output. If you can do the John Hammonds, they're almost always going to be the best option unless you can get clock towers. And let me explain why. So this particular John Hammond statue here is touching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 paddocks. So that is a total boost that is getting split out of 11 paddocks times the 7%. So that's 77% boost that I'm giving from this one particular John Hammond statue. Now if I were to move this guy and say replace with a DNA statue, right? That's 10%. But it's only producing 40% because it's only hitting 4 paddocks. So the John Hammond is 37% more boost going out based on it being in this location. Now you've got the Park Oasis, which is one of the better percentage boost decorations that you can buy with coins, but it only has a 3 square reach, which means it's not going to reach very many creatures. But you put it, say here, it's hitting 5 Paddocks, so that's 50% boost. You put this guy here, it's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 7, it's 52. Is that right? 52, right? So it's 2% better than the Park Oasis. So that would be a better decoration to put there. But let's say you do a clock tower here. So this clock tower is hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 16. Oh gosh, it's gonna do some mental math here. It's 60. That's 96. That's 96% boost from this one, which is obviously way better than the John Hammond and the Park Oasis. And so if you got the clock towers, you want to use the clock towers. If you don't have the clock towers, generally the John Hammond's going to be the better option. Very rarely is there going to be a better option than the John Hammond because of its reach that it has. Like for instance, here we've got a sundial, also a VIP 10%, but it has a 4 square reach. So it's a little bit better than the Park Oasis at 3 square reach. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Paddocks that it's hitting, so it's a 70% boost. If I put a John Hammond here, I'm reaching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times the 7, 52, which is not nearly as good. So in this particular case, this sundial, if I can get this back where it's supposed to be, is going to give me a better overall boost for this area. So sundial wins, John Hammond does not. And so essentially whatever you can buy, so whatever decorations you have available to you at your park level, you want to put them into this inner square to give you the maximum amount of boost that you can get based on how many paddocks it's going to touch. And that might vary depending on which location you have that within this particular area. But these 4 square total, meaning that they take up 4 squares, that's how much space they occupy, are going to be your best options. So if we go look at what 4 square decorations we have, there's the tropical planter, but again, there's such small reach. The Velociraptor garden sculpture, the carnivorous plant, that's a 3 square, so it's too big. Let's see. Most of these are 2x3. The Triceratops sculpture, that is, yes, 2x2. So that's a good one to do depending on your park level, since it is going to have the 4 square reach and it's got a 5% boost. The bonfire, not so much, unless that's your only option. Lava crater is too big. Let's see, is there any? There's the Park Oasis, obviously, which has got a really good percent, but it's only got the 3 square reach, which is kind of its downfall. Then you got the flower bed, which has got the 5 square reach, which is good, but it's only got a 4% boost. And you got the John Hammond. And John Hammond is definitely your best option if you have it available outside of clock towers. Clock towers are by far the best. So that's why whenever I get a trade or I win them, I always try to keep them and place them. If I, for whatever reason, have not placed it and I get an offer for Dino Bucks, I will take it. But it's usually a hard sell for for me to trade those in because they are so good, and they are limited to when you have the ability to actually capture them. So that is going to do it. So this is first layout, and this is about maximizing the usage of your revenue tower. Sorry, I got you. Brain fart there. But if you're going to utilize this layout, you want to maximize this inner track of decorations, and then you can further supplement it with decorations on the outside if you want to continue to further your boost of the outer creatures. You won't be able to boost the inner creatures because it's too far of a reach for all the decorations, because this is 5 and then 2 more, which is 7, or 4 and 2, which is 6. And so you can't get, well, I won't say you can't. You can't buy. So you can't buy decorations that have a further reach than 6. There are some boss statues, like the Phoenix statue, which has a reach of 7 that you can use. But that's the only decoration, I think, if I remember correctly, that has that far of a reach. Everything else is going to be less. So yeah, the Phoenix statue is one of the better. Well, there's actually one other statue. I have it mixed in here somewhere. Where did I put that thing? Oh, there it is. The Ha statue, which is a 6% reach, or 6 square reach, but 10%. But the Phoenix statue is by far the best reaching decoration that you can find, or that you can acquire, I should say, because everything else is 6 or less. Yeah, so when the Phoenix is available, we really want to make sure that we tackle that world boss, because it's the best decoration you can get, in my opinion, from the world boss based on the reach that it has. But yeah, so that is the first layout. Once again, through the magic of video editing, I'm going to quickly reorganize this park for the next section that I want to go over and discuss. Okay, let's try this again. It's twice today that I've forgotten to record the video, and maybe I'm just getting old, I guess. Okay, so this layout is for maximizing coin production on a single paddock. This layout allows you to have maximum amount of decorations hitting a single paddock. In this case, I have 420% boost by using the John Hammonds, and it is the strongest decoration you can buy that has the largest reach, but in this case, reach is not your best friend. The only thing that reach is good for in this particular layout is this outer edge. So this outer edge needs to be John Hammond's, or at least decorations with at least a 5% reach in order to get to over the two inner tracks of decorations. So that means that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decorations on each corner. So a total of 32 decorations that can be swapped out for higher producing decorations as long as they have better than 7% boost. So for instance, the Park Oasis, if we move this guy off, put the Park Oasis in, for every Park Oasis that we swap out with the John Hammond, we get an extra 3% boost. So 3 times 32, it's 96. So we can increase this Paddocks production by 96% over the John Hammond layout if we were to swap out with Park Oasis. Now, if we were to go further and say go from a John Hammond 420 with a, say, clock tower, which has got the highest boost at 16%, we've got an extra 9%. So 9% times 32, so it's 288 percentage points that we can get over and above the 420. Is that right? Am I doing my math right? 3 times 9 is 270. Times 288, yeah, that's right. So that means that we can get this paddock all the way up to 718%. I believe that would be the theoretical maximum for this paddock. So, or this layout, if you were to swap out all 32 John Hammonds on the two inner tracks with clock towers. I'm not going to do that here because that would take a while. But that's the math around boosting a single paddock and how you would want to lay out. So obviously this layout takes up a lot of space and it uses up a lot of decorations. So if you have the space and or you have the decorations that you want to use, maybe you've got some really high coin generating paddocks and you only need to, you're not burning through a bunch of coins every day. And so you want to just have to click on a couple of different paddocks. This would be the way to do that. And if you wanted to, you could put a clock tower on the corner, and you could have another paddock the same layout over here. You could have another paddock with the same layout below here if you had enough space, if you were to do this on the larger park, or if you put this layout all the way up towards this area here. So if this was the paddock, imagine this is the paddock and this is where you had it, and you had all the John Hammonds around it, you would have enough space to move this around all over this part of the park. And so and placing the revenue tower here would allow you to hit the corner of each paddock. So there'd be one at the edge of this corner, one at the edge of this corner, one at the edge of this corner, one at the edge of this corner. All right, so I did this for part of mine. I didn't do it all the way. You can see because this has only got 652% boost. So I'm missing roughly 60. is that 68, no, 66 percentage of boost on this paddock, because I did not do John Hammond's all the way around in this entire row, and mainly because I wanted to reuse these clock towers on these rows here by not putting those Jane Hammons in here and starting my next paddock boost here. And so if I was to replace, so obviously I'm not going to get this last row on this paddock here in this inner way, and I'm not going to get it on the outside of this one if I have to continue this pattern all the way down. But I would be getting, a boost of roughly 580 to probably around 600 if I was to replace all of these with John Hammond's as well. In fact, let's do that real quick since I've got them on the other island. Let's pick up some of these. It's more than I need. This ribbon tower over so I can place one more. And so now, see, now we've got this paddock up to 624. We've also got this paddock up to 673. So I can repeat this pattern all the way down, and I should get a maximum of 624 on each paddock as I run this down. And the question is, it takes a lot of space, right? So it's a lot of space and a lot of clock towers. But I could put these creatures here on the other island potentially, or put them in storage if I wanted to. I generate more coins than I need to now, so it's really all about kind of maximizing space and decoration usage. So I've been playing with this layout on this side of the island. Previously I had kind of this same pattern all the way down, the two clock towers in between my row of pterosaurs over here with decorations on the outside. But this layout here is from the previous restrictions that we had. So before they opened up the other island, you could only put down 99 paddocks, and it was like 400 and something decorations. I don't remember what the exact number was, but you were limited. You couldn't exceed that. And so I wasn't even using this part of the park here or here or here or even here, because I had reached the limit of decorations and paddocks you could have out. So when they opened up the other park or the other island, I was able to put all of my creatures out, but I haven't gone through and assessed if any of those creatures should be on this side. I haven't switched out my revenue tower placement to see if there's a better way, and so I'm probably going to do some checking and put a bunch of creatures from the other island into my asset repository so I could do this layout here and kind of change some stuff around. I got rid of all my roads and everything. Haven't decided how I want this park to look, and in conjunction what I want to do with this park. Do I want to keep it this way? It's a lot of work to reorganize your park, but it is nice now that you can store decorations. Before it was a giant, for those that haven't been playing this game very long, Previously, you couldn't store decorations, and that made it a huge pain to try to reorganize your park, because you could store creatures to give you space, but you couldn't store decorations. So thank you, Lydia, for adding that feature in. It's been a lifesaver, and it's something that is greatly appreciated. That was a while back, but I'm really glad that it's available. And so last thought on park layout. Buildings. Buildings look cool, but they are garbage when it comes to coin generation. A building will never have the coin generation that a paddock has. I don't care what level of building it is, what size of building, how much boost you put on the building. You're always going to be better off to have paddocks in your park. They're always going to have better coin generation compared to buildings. So some of these are fairly low paddocks here, just because I've only got one creature in them, but even that one creature is better than this building, right? So it's got 466 or 4,666. This building's got 1,980. So this paddock is generating at twice the building. You get a few more creatures in there, like for instance, this guy nests over 12 hours, but it's 130,000 coins over that 12 hours. So what is that? By 4, it's roughly 30,000-ish coins in a 3-hour versus this 1,900. There's just no comparison. And then when you start getting paddocks that have large amounts of creatures in it, you can't compete. I mean, this is 1,310,000 coins every 18 hours, 657,000 coins every 2 hours. The Magic Triceratops at 61,000 coins every 5 minutes. You just can't top that. Indoraptor, 2,803,000 coins every 10 hours. If you don't have your paddocks out and you got buildings out instead, you are robbing coin production from your park. And if you're struggling with coins, that's what you are doing. Get your paddocks out, get them out there, get some decorations around them. Even if you've only got some small decorations like Jurassic World flags, any boost is better than no boost. The geysers, 3%. Use the decorations you have, because the more coins you can generate, the more other decorations you can buy. You can keep up with your food production. You can do your custom trades and trade, coins for creatures or coins for decorations. You can do mod purchases if you need to, as far as the one daily coin. But you got to produce coins in your park if you want to be able to do those things. Also, your battles, right? Some of the battles, this one doesn't cost anything. I think this one, 500,000 a battle. It's not a lot. It can be if your park is low, but everything takes coins to do. Or not everything, but a lot of things take coins. So it's definitely a benefit to your park to have max amount of coin generation. When I do my custom trades, I can burn through anywhere from 150 million to 200 million in coins in 3 custom trades. And I don't have to worry about it because my park produces that many over a small amount of time. I usually let my park build up over the day, and I stay at 99 million. I do one custom trade, I go and collect coins from Paddocks until I'm back up at 99 million, do another custom trade, go back and pick up coins from Paddocks, get back to 99 million, and then go do another custom trade. And lately I've been getting custom trades that are anywhere from 40 to 80 million per trade, depending on what kind of hybrid it's giving me as an option. So coin production is key in your park if you want to keep up with all that the game has to offer. Coins get a bad rap because they are so plentiful, but there are places to use them, and they're an important resource in the game if you use it properly. So what are your park layouts that you use? Do you do your park layout for look and feel? Do you have roads? I wish there was a actual use for the roads. I wish that you got some sort of boost that was available if you had like paddocks connected with roads, some sort of way that Ludia could add and make the road function something that's more useful. But they, I guess, look okay. I mean, they're kind of nice, but there's nobody walking on them. There's no cars driving on them. It's just kind of like they just take up space currently. And while they are a good filler, for instance, you could put roads in between here if you wanted to take up this space, which could kind of look cool, I guess. But the reality is it doesn't do anything. It just sits there. Kind of looks cool. Maybe it adds a little design flair, if you will, but it doesn't have any kind of utilitarian function of the game. It doesn't add anything from a resource production or some sort of boost. So it's purely decorative, which can be nice, I guess. I'll give you that. It can be nice to have just decorations within the park. But for me, currently, I'm kind of have a maximize mindset. And so if it doesn't add to the park's production, I don't like to have it in the park, which is why I don't really have any buildings except for stuff that I've placed on the very outer edges as I've gotten them, because I'm not sure quite yet what I want to do with this island. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys are doing with your park. I don't know if you can share pictures on YouTube. I haven't tried that, but if you can, that would be cool if you show some pictures of your park. Otherwise, you could always show pictures on the forum. I know I've got some posts way back that have some of my old park layouts from before the other island was opened up, so maybe I'll put those links in the description to those threads within the game, within the forum. So and with that, that is going to do it for today. All right, so earlier in the video I was talking about the theoretical maximum for a single paddock, and I was incorrect. I'm going to leave that footage in because this is just going to be a supplemental to that. This is actually, I was thinking about it and I was like, there's got to be a way to increase it, and I had those little gaps on each side to make the pattern symmetrical, which is good for if you're trying to put these next to other paddock groupings. But this is actually, even though it's not symmetrical, it is quasi-symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical from all four sides, since you have these little kickouts of some of these that you don't have a solid straight line of decorations on either side. But 504 is the theoretical maximum for John Hammond's that you can put on a specific paddock. And now obviously you can increase over and above that by placing other decorations within that space. So because of the way this is an offset pattern, with the Park Oasises, you can only fit 32 of these and still have it touching this paddock. So that would take you from the 504 all the way up to 600, because the 32 times the 3% increase that you get over the John Hammonds with the Park Oasis is 96. You add that to the 504 and you get to 600%. So with purchase decorations, you could get a paddock up to 600%. Now, if you have VIP decorations, you can go up a little bit higher, because with the VIP decorations, either the sundials or the Mr. DNA statues that also have a 10% boost, but actually have a 4 square reach, you can have 40 of them within this inner space of this layout, which means that you can have an increase of 120 instead of just 96 when compared to the Park Oasis. So if you were to swap these guys in, you could get this paddock all the way up to 624%. And then to go even further, if you have the clock towers, you could again put 40 of these in this inner space, which obviously has an increase of 9 over the John Hammonds. So that's an increase of 360% boost. So that would take this paddock all the way to 864% boost on this paddock, which is quite a lot, obviously. So if you do that for a few paddocks, if you got the clock towers and you got the space to lay that out, you could have some serious coin generation happening on a paddock. For instance, this particular paddock right now has got 1,917,000 coin generation that's going to be happening every 3 hours currently. And it's not one of my highest producing paddocks. I think this one might be. Let me check that out real quick. So yeah, 2.1 million here, whereas this one was, I think it was 1.9, so just a little bit more, not a ton more, but it would be more, and you would be able to do some serious coin generation if you were doing that. So this is the actual theoretical best layout you could have for purchased decorations. And obviously it goes up once you start adding specialty decorations like the VIPs. And even if you wanted to, if we had, say, an unlimited supply of boss statues, you would actually be able to even further increase this, because you could place these boss statues out here on the edge, but only the Phoenix statue, since it's got a 7 square reach. But you could put them all the way along here and still have it touch. So if you had an unlimited supply of these, you could run this kind of inner web of spaces here and get even more. But the boss statues are definitely a limited supply thing. They don't come up as much, and so I'm not going to worry about adding them into the mix. Since they're not readily available. But purchase decorations, this is what you're looking at. 504 with John Hammonds. If you switch over to the Park Oasis, you're looking at 600. If you switch over to the entry-level 4 square reach VIP decorations, you're looking at 624, and if you go all the way to the clock towers, you're looking at 864% boost on a specific enclosure. So I just want to make sure that that was clear, that this is the technical theoretical maximum, but it's just not symmetrical, or at least not conducive to stacking next to each other, whereas this is conducive to stacking next to each other, although it does leave this gap of space in here in between these decorations. It does go unused, but it does allow you to stack this design next to another design with maximum usage of decorations, and in my opinion, maximum usage of space as well. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell will ensure that you'll be notified as I release videos on the channel. If you found this video helpful, let me know by hitting the like button. If there is something specific you would like a video on in the game, please leave a message in the comment section below on what you would like to see. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.